Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to talk about, a story that, came across, my social networks, a few days ago. And as this channel is all about analyzing Brazil from the perspective of race, I know I had to tackle this. So I'm going to just get directly into today's video. I think it'll definitely lead to a conversation. So let's get into this. Today's video is called I Only Saw Myself as a Handsome Man After a Lot of Therapy, says actor Samuel de Assis, how a Eurocentric Brazil undermines the concept of Black beauty. Let's get directly into this video today. Okay, so this is actor Samuel de Assis. He's become pretty popular over, I'd say, the last decade or so. Particularly blew up after one particular novella. Let's talk a little bit about him so we can get some context for today's video. So I wanted to cover this story today after I saw the video pop up in my IG feed. It involves the Afro-Brazilian actor Samuel de Assis, who has come to the public attention after his memorable roles in the series 3% or 3%, Do Treinador, and specifically the global TV soap opera Vai na Fé. Born in 1983 in Brazil's northeast in the state of Sergipe, Assis was actually raised in Salvador, Bahia, the city recognized as Brazil's center of Black culture. Assis ended up moving to Sao Paulo at age 17, and he entered into the University of Sao Paulo's School of Dramatic Art. Now, Sao Paulo is, for if you're not familiar with Brazil, Sao Paulo is like Brazil's equivalent to New York. It's perhaps, I would say, no doubt, is the most important city in the country. It's the economic engine of the city. Anything or anyone who is anyone wants to be in Sao Paulo because of the opportunities. Everything is in Sao Paulo. I lived there for 9 years, and University of Sao Paulo is the country's top university. So in 2008, he won his first television role in the soap opera Ciranda de Pedra, and then made his debut in film in 2010 in a film about Chico Xavier, about the famed philanthropist and spiritual leader. Since then, Assis has been steadily building his resume, having now appeared in more than 20 television series and novellas, the Portuguese term for soap operas. Along the way, he has also appeared in 5 films and racked up 6 nominations in award ceremonies for his acting skills. What I wanted to discuss today is actually related to what he said in an appearance on the GNT television network on the talk show Assim Como a Gente, hosted by popular journalist Fátima Bernardes. It's no secret that Brazilians lean heavily in favor of European physical features as the standard for attractiveness. The evidence here is overwhelming. From the fact that there have only been 3 Black Miss Brazil contest winners in nearly 70 years of the Miss Brazil competition, with 2 of those 3 winners coming in the last 6 years. So up until about 2016, how many years is that? That's like about 62 years up until 2016, there was only 1 Black woman who had won the Miss Brazil competition. Why is that? So to well-known everyday opinion, these are well-known everyday opinions about Black Brazilians versus white Brazilians. Everyone knows, according to the racial hierarchy, who's seen as the most attractive, most intelligent, etc. We also know that Brazilians prefer European features based on the type of cosmetic surgeries that they endure. We've seen articles that speak of correcting the Negroid nose. I mean, really, how many times have you ever heard somebody having rhinoplasty, a nose job in which they made their nose bigger? Ask yourself why. We know that Brazilian women seek sperm contributions from specifically white males with blue eyes. What's that all about? In 2015, a city councilman in the city of Campinas argued with a Black man and stated that he was handsome and had blue eyes, while he defined the Black man as ugly. In the city of Recife in Brazil's northeast, a mother had to console her daughter after a young white boy told her she was ugly because she's Black. In a beauty contest featuring all Black women, one contestant said she had been told that her color was ugly. Until last year, a video featuring a young Black boy went viral when he asked his mother if he would be white one day. These are all articles that you can find on the blackbraziltoday.com blog. This is one is from 2015, flaunting the privilege of whiteness. Councilman tells Black protester, "I'm handsome and have blue eyes, and you're ugly." So this is the city councilman in the city of Campinas in Sao Paulo State, Sigi Ferreira. This is what he said to a Black man. "I'm handsome with blue eyes. You're ugly." Everybody, he doesn't have to say that you're ugly because you're Black, because, in Brazil, that's kind of how people believe, how they see the standard anyway. Let's look at a couple more other articles here. Mother requests help from school. White boy says her daughter was ugly because she's Black. What else needs to be said there? What needs to be said there? Black beauty contest raises self-esteem of contestants in Northeast Brazil. "I've heard that my color is ugly. Now I know that being Black is much more than skin color," said one of the winners. They had to start developing these all Black competitions in beauty contests because, in general, they noted that in beauty contests in Brazil, it's always going to be the girls who are closest to the white standard that are going to be the majority of the contestants or the winners. As I've said, in the Miss Brazil competition, in nearly 70 years, there's only been 3 Black women who won that competition, and 2 of those came in the last 7 years. So it was one Black woman had won over a period of 62 years up until that point. What else do we have here? This is an infamous article from 2016. "Next time, be born white. You have a complex because of being born mulatta with hard hair." Woman is verbally assaulted on Rio Beach by middle-aged white woman who defines herself as a Hitler supporter. So this woman verbally assaulted this Black girl on the beach. I guess this was in Rio, and she just went in on this young lady, like, next time, be born white. I mean, what else needs to be said there? It's like when people make statements like that, they clearly show you that they believe that, the white population is up here and the Black population is down here. So she's like, in the next life, hopefully you'll be born white. It's like, let's not deny that white Brazilians know that they have certain benefits in the country just because of what they look like. Okay. Brazil claims that everybody is all equal, but if Brazilians are honest with themselves, they know they see this type of thing every day. What else do we have here? Okay. When Brazilian guys blow up online for being hot, why are they always white? It's really not hard to tell in Eurocentric Brazil. This is a piece I did back in 2016. This is how it's seen in society. It's in general, most Brazilians follow a hierarchy that puts whiteness here and Blackness, down towards the bottom. So there's nothing really to argue about that. That's why I wanted to give some context in this, because this is something that Brazilians have known this for years, even though on the surface they'll deny that this type of racial hierarchy exists. These are just a few examples. There have been numerous books by Brazilians as well as Americans documenting this racial hierarchy that Brazilians all know exists. These sorts of things happen across Brazil every single day, and with the recognition of the racist system in which they live, Black Brazilians have been calling for the deconstruction of the ideal standard of whiteness. That's another article you can find on the blackbraziltoday.com blog. Against this backdrop of a belief in white superiority, actor Samuel de Assis' comments make total sense. How is one to come to accept him or herself as attractive when the society as a whole regularly disqualifies Black people just because they are Black? In fact, we also know that if a person of visible African ancestry is considered attractive, Brazilians will oftentimes not define themselves as Black, will not define that person as Black. Like, she's so beautiful, he's so handsome, how can he be Black? He has to be a morena. She has to be a morena, he has to be a morena or mulatto, or whatever the terminology that people might use in a way that people believe that, well, calling somebody Black is, or negro, negra, preto all mean Black. For many years, people looked at calling people Black as being an insult. So, we have to respect this person. We can't define them as Black. The belief is, if the person is dark-skinned and attractive, they cannot be defined as Black is automatically considered ugly. We saw yet another example of this in a recent video. So In this context, let's get into today's video. So actor Samuel de Assis says, I only saw myself as handsome after a lot of therapy. How a Eurocentric Brazil undermines the concept of Black beauty. So this story is courtesy of the G Show website. Now, this is actor Kawa Heimonji, right? He appeared on a talk show along with Samuel de Assis, and they're having a conversation. You know, he touched on various topics. But I'm not going to talk about the whole video, but I'm going to talk about just a small snippet that was shared on social networks. So actor Kawa Heimonji is considered by the vast majority of people as one of the most handsome actors in Brazil. This is Kawa. So this is actor Kawa Heimonji. You know, I've known about this guy for years. I always found it intriguing because you run across a lot of quote unquote white Brazilians who don't necessarily look really just white to me. You know what I mean? If I was to drop you off in Brazil, there are millions of Brazilians who would be white anywhere in the world, but then there are those white Brazilians who would only be white in Brazil or in Latin America. And that's how I kind of look at this guy, Kawa Heimonji. I mean, yeah, okay, he's a white guy in general, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has something else in his DNA besides European, right? Okay, so almost unanimously, the actor reveals that despite receiving a lot of affection and praise, he only felt that he was a handsome man about 10 years ago. Now, this is what Kawa Raymond said. He said he only came to see himself as being an attractive man at the age of 30, but I don't know how he saw himself, but I'm quite sure, and as we've seen in the past, and as this article starts saying, like he's considered one of the most handsome actors in Brazil. So regardless of how he saw himself, it's clear that most women considered him to be an attractive man. Okay. On the other hand, what was Samuel de Assis's experience? Now, this is Fatima Bernardes. Anybody in Brazil who's watching any type of television knows who she is. Well-known journalist. She's done news. She's done talk shows. She's at the head of another talk show right now in which she had these two actors, one black, one white on the show, and they chopped up a bunch of issues, right? So when participating in the program Assim Como a Gente, hosted by the above Fatima Bernardes, the actor, who is now 43 years old, revealed that he only understood himself as a heartthrob after he was 30 years old. Now, this is Samuel de Assis talking, or this is what he said. He only discovered himself to be attractive at age 30, or after he was 30. This is intriguing because it is always white men who are considered the most attractive in Brazil. Take this article, for example, that lists the top actors that are considered heartthrobs, or what they call galãs in Brazil, right? Take a look and see if you don't see a standard. Notice there's only one black man on the list, and that is actor Lázaro Ramos, seen in this picture here. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But on this website, taken from 2021, they're asking people to vote. You know, who do you find to be the greatest heartthrobs in global television's soap operas, right? This is a guy that he's been popular for many years, Reinaldo Giannettini, right? People love this man. Let's go down the list. So they break it down by the 80s. Who are the heartthrobs at global television, the Brazil's top television network? This is Edson Celularity, right? He's considered one of the top guys. Then you have, okay, who's this guy here? Cadu Moliterno. That's this guy right here. You keep going and you run across, what's his name? Paulo Castelli, this guy right here. So then you move up into the 90s. Who are the heartthrobs, the galãs on the global television network in the 90s? Gerson Capri, this guy right here. You keep going, you run into Humberto Martins, this guy, okay? Are you noticing a standard here? Let's keep it moving. Eduardo Moscovis, this guy right here, okay? Now we move into the years of the 2000s. Who are the heartthrobs at global television? The aforementioned Reinaldo Giannettini, this guy right here. Can't take nothing away from him. Obviously, he is an attractive man. Then you have Rodrigo Santoro, okay? Are we noticing a standard yet? Henry Castelli, this guy right here. Finally, you get Lázaro Ramos. So Lázaro Ramos entered into this category when he had a starring role on a novella in, I think it was 2011. Up until then, you know, it was just, you know, one of the black guys, right? I've argued that Lázaro Ramos was probably the top black male actors in Brazil. His wife, Thais Araújo is the top Black actress in the country. So this is the first blackface you saw on this whole list. Then we go from 2010 to 2020. You got this guy Shea Sueji. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that. You get, what is his name? I think it's Caio Castro. That's this guy right here. Do we have anybody else? Okay, Humberto Cajon, this guy here. And that's the whole list. But as I said, if you paid close attention to that list, you'll see that there was only one blackface in the whole group. Okay, that's not an accident. In this article from Epica magazine, Lázaro Ramos, who I just talked about, I think this is from 2011. This article was called O Primeiro Galã Negro, meaning he's the first heartthrob on Brazilian television. Now, novellas in Brazil have been going on since probably the 50s or the 60s. So you're telling me this is in 2011, only in 2011 do you get a Black man that's considered a heartthrob on television, in a leading role. So it says, what the success of actor Lázaro Ramos in the role of a rich playboy and seducer reveals about the ascension of Blacks in Brazil. This was a big deal. I mean, when Black people appear on series and novellas in Brazil, they have a certain stereotype they're going to present these people in all the time. So Lázaro Ramos came along and kind of broke that mold. But how long did that take? We're seeing more and more Black actors and actresses getting starring roles in these novellas and series, but it's taken 50, 60, 70 years to get there. Okay. Ramos was in fact considered the first galã, again, meaning heartthrob, to play a leading role in Brazil's novellas. And that was only in the year 2011. So this is a still, from a YouTube channel. And they're just talking about this appearance by these two actors who I'm talking about today, Cauã Raimondi and Samuel de Assis, on the Assim Como a Gente GNT television network talk show, featuring or being hosted by Fátima Bernardes. Okay. Actor Samuel de Assis, another interviewee in the program, agreed with his colleague Raimondi. According to Samuel, it was only a few years ago when he was able to accept that he was attractive. Quote, I share a bit of that. I've never seen myself as a handsome man precisely because of this. Looking at my history and society telling me all the time that I can't be handsome. What do we get from that? See, this is one of the things I often point out, and people have commented on this, in the comment section, and they kind of see the same thing that I see. In some ways, segregation in the United States helped Black Americans to develop their own standards. Now, granted, many of our standards are still based on a European model, but the difference I'm seeing is that in Brazil, where you didn't have just legalized segregation, Blacks there, whites there, within the poorest and the middle class and the few Black people that you have in the upper classes, the standard is still going to be whiteness. So Black Brazilians didn't have the possibility of developing their own standards separate from the white standard. It's saying we have to be like them. Okay. So this is where we understand what Samuel de Assis is saying. Growing up in a Eurocentric standard of beauty and intelligence, when can Black people ever come to see themselves as being attractive when they live under European standard? So this is basically what he's saying. It's like society and his history tells him all the time that he can't be handsome. That's saying a lot. We, homens pretos, he continues, meaning Black men, homens pretos, we already know this. We're born into a society that says all the time, there's Cauã, again, the white actor previously presented in this article. There's Cauã, who is handsome, and you are Black. But think I only understood myself as a handsome man after a lot of therapy and after I made my santo in my religion, which was when I auditioned for the global television soap opera Vai na Fé, he explains. Now, let me go over a couple of things here. He only understood himself as handsome after having some therapy. And a lot of Black Brazilians are seeing necessity of seeing Black therapists as well, because a lot of white therapists will look at some of the concerns they have and say, oh, that's just something in your head. Racism doesn't exist here. That's a thing in the United States. So they feel the need to talk to Black psychologists who will understand where they're coming from in terms of how Black Brazilians have been treated in Brazil for, over 350 years. Now, just for context, When the actor says he made his santo, he's referring to an initiation ritual in the Afro-Brazilian religion of candomblé. I have to get into candomblé one day. It's another facet of Brazil that you really have to understand to really try to understand what it is to be Brazilian or what Brazil is. He continues, I worked as a model for 3 years. I was only dating myself at age 34. I knew people had that look on me. There were days when I thought I was in some photos, he reveals, saying, okay, maybe I can be considered attractive, but it took him years to get to that point. This is a scene from the novella. He got a lot of accolades with this novella. I mean, this novella was like groundbreaking in many ways because it had such a large black cast. I mean, even the British newspaper, The Guardian, had to discuss how this novella was a it was a watershed moment in Brazilian television history. And Black Brazilians continue to ascend in the television market, but it's been a slow process. This is just a scene from that novella. The actor also revealed that this acceptance process was reflected in his career. According to Samuel, when he received the invitation to star in Vai na Fé, he didn't believe he could have possibly been chosen. When I found myself at the age of 40 receiving the news of you are the next protagonist of the 7 o'clock novella in the love triangle with Catalina Jiquiman and Sharon Menezes, I almost said, thank you, but I can't accept this. So in this novella, he's caught in a love triangle with this woman here, Sharon Menezes, but also a white actress and former model known as Catalina Jiquiman. So this was like a big deal. I mean, him winning this role, it was something he couldn't even believe it. His first reaction was, this can't be, I can't do this. I can't accept this, because in Brazil, the black population is they grow up indoctrinated with the idea that they don't look good enough, that they're not talented enough, they don't have the skill level, they don't have the look, they don't have the experience. So they're used to having this door completely shut in their face all the time, because this is how Brazil has indoctrinated them over the years. So this is why I wanted to talk about this particular video today, because it speaks volumes about how Black Brazilians are treated in society. They just feel that, he said it all. I've never been considered a handsome man. It took me therapy to be able to see myself in that way. Now, if you look at, let's look at a couple of the comments that came through while people were talking about what his comments were. Let's just check out a couple of those. Let's just check out a couple of the comments in the on the Instagram channel. Okay, let's check out the first few comments here. The first comment says, "Do you know why after his initiation into the religion that he thought he was handsome? It's because it is a religion that praises Black men and women, because where these ancestral gods come from, they are Black, beautiful, wonderful, powerful, and all this empowerment that their adherents and neophytes feel up close. All hail the religions of African matrix, or even those that have not yet suffered the process of whitening and colonization." So what this person is saying here is that the Candomblé is a religion. There are several religions throughout the Americas where facets of the Yoruba religion from Nigeria were transported with the slave trade. And these religions took on different names throughout the Americas, whether it was in Puerto Rico or Cuba or Brazil. Various countries in Latin America have, these religions that are offshoots of the Yoruba religion. And what she's saying is that it was through his initiation, through his religion of the Candomblé. And within the religion, this Blackness is something that is actually worshipped, is actually honored. So he was able to develop this feeling of being, well, maybe I am a handsome man, partially because of his initiation into the Candomblé. Next comment said, "That's it." To paraphrase the rapper Baku Exu dos Blues, a popular rapper in Brazil, "It took 32 years for me to find myself attractive." So this is the popular rapper Baku Exu dos Blues. He, for many, is considered the standard for what an attractive Black man in Brazil is supposed to look like. But even he went through this whole process where it took him time to be able to accept that he was an attractive man. So, it kind of backs up what Samuel de Assis is saying. It's like a lot of Black people go through this because Brazil says you're Black and you can't be attractive. Next comment says, "I understand what he's saying so well, because when I visited Brazil, that's what I felt. I felt invisible. And I, in my late 20s, living between Europe and Angola, super sure of my beauty. Brazil brought me this message. You're invisible here. Now, apparently, this woman is from Angola, and she spent time living in Europe and Angola before settling in Brazil. And she feels this like, in reality, like Brazil looks at Black people as if we're invisible. You don't matter and you don't count. Invisible to whites and Blacks. When I realized in Brazil, what I realized in Brazil was that there are characteristics of beauty, and the first is to be white. So if you're not white, it doesn't matter if you're beautiful. You'll always be invisible. Strong words right there. Next comment says, unfortunately, this is our reality. So a lot of people are understanding what this guy is talking about because they see it, and some of these people have experienced this. The next comment says, imagine the Black women. So what she's saying in this comment is that if a Black male feels this way, imagine how a Black woman feels, you know, in a world where a woman's beauty, it says to her what her value in society is, because, you know, beauty is something that society judges women on. So it's like, if a man can't feel that way, imagine how Black women in Brazil feel. As I said, with the example with very few Black women being you know, winners in the Miss Brazil competition. So I just wanted to record this video today because I thought this was an extremely important issue. In order for us to understand how the hierarchy works in Brazil, we have to understand what the people are saying. And for years, it was just kind of accepted that Black people are second-class citizens. They're not attractive. They're not intelligent. And it's only now in these last couple of decades where this uplifting of the Black spirit has been, you know, it's been really moving forward in Brazil. And I'm starting to see these changes. You know, some 20, 25 years ago, I don't think any Black man probably would have even said this, because they would have been just accepted like, you know, I'm not white, so I can't be considered handsome. I can't be considered a leading man in a novella. So anyway, I'm curious to know what you all thought about this particular piece. Definitely drop a comment in the comment section. I want to know what you all think about this. Consider liking and sharing this video so this channel can grow. Click on the subscription bell, the subscription button, so that you can subscribe to this channel, get all of the videos when I put them up. Click on the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I put up a new video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and ask you all to come back and check out my next video.